Hello and welcome to another one podcast.
We have a Patreon. It's one of the best Patreons in the game.
By best, it's more of us.
Hundreds of hours of content. There's specials on there.
Three
specials. 2 live shows. It's one of the best Patreons around. You won't regret it. Sign up. £3 a month. That's all it fucking is.
I can't promise you it's one of the best or the most valuable, but if you enjoy us,
I think it is.
It's the only way to guarantee this carries on.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So
Genuinely.
It's up to you. Would you like this podcast to carry on? If the answer to that question is yes, then why not part with 75p a week by signing up to our Patreon?
Patreon.com/another one podcast. Sign up to it. You don't even have to enjoy the content that's on there.
You don't even have to watch it.
No.
Just
sign up.
75p a week,
yeah,
so that you get your public episode every week, guaranteed. Because if it drops below a certain level, it will stop.
75p a week.
The minute this costs us money again, it's gone.
Yeah, and it's
barely even.
So, please,
for the love of God,
yeah, please. Now it's beyond a joke. Now there's only one podcast that needs the money, and that's ours. We're absolutely brassic, and we've got the most outgoings, like dependents.
Another one.
What's happening, everyone?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 140. It's getting on in it. 148 of Another One podcast.
Hot boxing with another one.
With me, Simon Wozniak, co-host, cohort, brother from another mother, brother in arms, comedy comrade, Rob Thomas.
What's happening?
And joining us today, I haven't really got anything to say apart from Josh Howie.
Debutant.
I couldn't think of I usually like to give a little word. But
that could be. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. Yeah. Like if it's a good thing, you'd be like, this guy needs no introduction, or it could be like, there's literally nothing to say about this guy.
I was probably going to say something, but then I thought, no, I'll leave that for now.
That's good. Yeah, keep in tight. Bring them in. Make them listen longer. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh. Well, I'll have to do a bit of heavy lifting right now because Rob can't breathe.
I was going for something to eat and I'm sweaty and I can't breathe. Yeah.
He's got a rag with him.
When the rag comes out.
Are you a rag man? Have you ever been a rag man?
I've never been a rag man. I've always managed to maintain this level.
With the way you're like so au fait with African black culture, basically. I thought you'd had a little rag.
For me, that would be cultural appropriation too far.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think.
See, I've thought about doing it.
Yeah, okay.
Like just baggier clothes and just a bit of a rag and just be like, no, this is what I mean. I'm really into hip hop, even though I don't really listen to it that much. Just telling people like this is what I'm into. So
do rag.
Yeah, a little do rag on the go. Yeah.
Oh no, come on.
I thought about it.
You know, you've already got the hype man.
Yeah.
You know, you're ready.
Exactly. I thought about it. I reckon
you could wear a do rag.
No, not one of the ones for like afro for the hair. But you know, it's common in their culture just to have a little.
Oh right, out the back. Right, okay, right. Oh, I thought you meant wearing one for your head.
No.
Okay.
As much as I would love to do that, it's either that or fully embrace the bucket hat.
Right.
That's my 2 options.
You are hot today. I can see you. It's like being next to a racehorse.
It's gonna water me down.
Yeah, just seeing it is like flooding out here.
How are you in long sleeves and black jeans? Like just.
Well, I'm not.
I think you do it for attention.
What?
Just dressing appropriately for the weather.
No, it's because we've established this because I'm at a point where I'm fat, but I'm not. Right. I can't own the fatness. Do you know what I mean?
So you wouldn't even wear like shorts?
I wear a t-shirt and that. I will do it, but I'm more comfortable.
Do you feel insecure?
Yeah, I'm massively insecure. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. What are you? Are you insecure? You're not insecure about anything, are you?
Yeah. Of course I am. I'm a comedian. That's where it comes from.
Do you get topless?
Right now?
Yeah.
Always. No. Yeah. I will get topless. I mean, it's less. I mean, I'm a bit overweight. I'm not as in shape as I'd like to be, but I would get topless. And in fact, thinking about it now, it was going topless at my son's bar mitzvah that prompted me to lose a bunch of weight. I had my dad took me to the side and said, Josh, you know, you're going to die young.
You'd follow the lead. If everyone was going topless, you go, all right, sound.
Well, it was me, unfortunately, who led the lead,
right?
And then no one followed.
But you must have been bigger than what you are now.
I was. It was post lockdown. All I was doing was ordering pizzas.
Was that the biggest you've ever been?
That was the biggest I've ever been, and then it was like I said, it was a wake up call. When your dad takes you to the side, and my dad never gives me advice about anything. Like that's his point. Of like he almost has like it's his rule, like you make your own mistakes type thing. It's weird. I disagree with that rule. I've got kids, and I think it's all about trying to help them to not make the same mistakes. But he's got this very clear thing, like, don't give advice. But when he said, Josh, sort your shit out, that was like, okay, I've got a problem.
He meant it.
I've got a problem.
So that was the only bit of advice he's ever given you, or took you to the side on?
Pretty much, and stop having kids.
Right.
That might be
got
a
a lot, haven't you?
I've got a lot of kids.
But we're going back to how big were you? Because I can't imagine being.
It's fat on a skinny body as well. Also, look, it's the classic thing. So everything else,
big belly, skinny hands.
Spindly body with a massive.
When you haven't got the limbs to match, it looks terrible.
I know.
Oh wow! And that triggered it for you, and then you
Triggered it. Did the keto.
Did keto?
Just drops off. It's amazing. It's a miracle.
Was you checking your blood and stuff?
No, it wasn't that level. It's just the easiest diet to do, because all it is don't do something.
Yes.
Like not calorie counting, not any of that stuff, and you just go into this like keto state. You get a bit upset. You get very boring about it because you end up talking about it forever.
Yeah.
That's the only real downside. And then the only other downside is this sort of counterintuitive thing where because it is actually quite easy to do once you're in it. The great thing about it is your body feeds itself, so you're not actually hungry. But then because you know it's easy, then you think, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna get fat again.
This is the problem with being big. I always say is you lose weight so easy when you first start off that you just in the back of your head you're like, I'll drop off, so it's no problem.
Yeah,
like it's never going to be a problem because I'll just lose weight that quick.
Yeah,
and then and
then you're dead.
Yeah, and then you're dead, or you try to lose weight, you're like, fuck, what's happened there?
So keto, what are you not having? Is it?
It's
carbs.
Yeah, this is it's just you can't eat any carb, no sugar, so no bread, no pasta, no fruit, but you can have like steaks and cheese and eggs.
You have rice.
You can't have rice, no.
No.
So
it just sounds like no sides.
No carbs.
No carbs. Yeah, so just no carbs. No, you can eat like
every
avocado.
Every has a carb. Probably.
Yeah, basically, my diet is sides.
Yeah.
So it's really you might chips or you can't eat any of that stuff. But it just works. What can I say? If I want to get really boring, and I know that I'm assuming this is to make people laugh this podcast.
No, because all I talk about is alcoholism, and I'm bored of the fact that that's my personality. So I'm liking this now.
It's what it is. If you want it, the science of it is really boring. But Mark Dolan actually really helped me out. If you know Mark.
Oh yeah.
Don't know who he is.
He. But essentially, you got your body was like, as cave people, we were designed to exist in two states, like summer and winter. Winter, we were eating meat. Summer, we're eating all the fruits and stuff. So our body exists like those two different types of fuel. And in the winter, your body is designed to go into this like keto state where it eats its own fat, but you have to have no carbs no insulin in your blood, no blood sugar basically to go into that state, and then you're just eating your own reserves. But obviously, we live in a time where you're never in that state because you're constantly eating chips or anything, really, bread, anything that keeps you out of it. So my body had never been in keto state. There's a thing where you get a bit weird for a day or so, where you're super tired and you're not making much sense.
I thought you meant to check your blood for the keto levels.
No, you can, but really, as long as you're just not eating
that's why I've never done it, because
you don't need to do it.
I might just be diabetic. I'm going to start checking my blood.
You just literally don't. You won't, as long as you're not having any carbs or sugar, you will be in a keto state and you'll feel it. And then you don't get hungry as well. So actually, I was just fasting for like 3 days straight and not even really noticing it.
Did you not miss it? Because that's the thing. I'd be like going like, obviously you'll get past that point where you go, oh, I would like them and I'm not having them, to the point where you go, I actually don't ever need that now. And then you're thinking, well, like, have you gone back?
No, you do miss it. Like you can't. Yeah, and then as soon as you have a chip, you're like, this is the best thing in the world.
Yeah,
right.
So
how long did you keep it up for?
I did it for 2 months and I lost, I think 3 stone.
Did you?
In 2 months.
Can you drink on it?
You can drink gin and tonics.
Right.
So no calories, no carbs.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, slim Jim.
2 months, 3 stone.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it just drops off when you're in it, and the weird thing is your energy gets better. Your energy levels, because you're not getting these sugar crashes.
Whenever you do anything, though, your energy gets better. Like the first time you do anything, it's like, oh, I feel great. Like, yeah, it's because you've not done this ever before. That's why.
Well, I've done it 2 times since, and it always works.
Yeah.
But that is the problem, because it does work. And now, then it makes me. Then I'm just this is what I see it like: eat like a fucker, like just don't give a shit, and then just know right. Then I get to a certain point on my belt where it's like the belt doesn't work. I'm like, right, got to do it. 2 months of pain. So it sort of takes 6 months to get back to
just yo-yo and then
but 6 months of doing what the fuck I want for 2 months of pain is That seems like a
So
that's a good deal.
You're content with being a yo-yo, like fully in the yo-yo
I mean,
thing.
I
You're not
love
looking to transform. You're looking to just enjoy life and then have it miserable, enjoy it, misery.
because isn't that life anyway?
What's he
Right.
what would he be doing it for otherwise?
well, to transform fully.
Yeah,
and
but you've still got in your head, like, no offense to Josh, but you've still got it in your head that you want to be an influencer who's gonna have a six-pack on Instagram. I don't think Josh is sitting there thinking that could be me one day.
you don't know.
You don't
Not
know.
to put you down, but
Do you still have a thing in your head where you think I could still get muscly and?
Yeah, there is that like
Thank
you know,
you.
occasionally when
Just
you
'cause
see.
you're so far gone doesn't mean the rest of us give up.
But that's more dangerous. That idea, the idea. Oh yeah, I could if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I saw this guy Dominic Holland's comic. I don't know if you but he put a thing up the other day where Dominic Frisbee, and he put a thing up, and he's done exactly the same, and he's put this whole like line thread on Twitter. He's 50, mid 50, 52, 53 or something. Anyway. He looks incredible. He's got the six-pack. He's got the thing. And he just put up a thread how he did it. And he's like, he's hanging up for 2 minutes a day. Or he's doing this and that. You can make those transformations. Yeah. But the problem, you guys married?
Long term.
He's long term. I'm married. He's long term.
So it's like
might as well be.
If she's putting up with it,
Exactly
what is my incentive?
Yeah.
Like
That's
what I want
to. That's what I'm saying. You're not sitting there thinking in the back of his head. He still thinks 6 months. 6 months. I'll be single.
I
on
was
Instagram
speaking to Dan Nightingale yesterday about it because he's in this bit of he's trying with the gym and all this, and I was saying I think when you get in that really good shape, your high is when you put on a lovely piece of clothing and it looks great and you get a photo taken and it looks phenomenal and you get a high of how good you look.
But you think that high is
I think it's up there with a lot of things. I reckon so.
I reckon once they get into
when you get them likes,
I reckon once they get into that shape and they get that high and they go, oh fuck, it was the same as when I was starving and I smashed a Big Mac. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
I think the high actually comes afterwards, like 5 years afterwards. I got a photo like that at my wedding, like on the honeymoon, coming out of the sea, sort of James Bond style. I used to go to the gym a lot, like before kids. I was like in the gym 4 times a week, and there's just a picture of me coming out of not trying to pose or anything, coming out of the sea on our honeymoon, and I look at that photo and I think I did it. There was a moment in time where you know there was like a window of acne went. My hair was still there, and I was working out. And it's like I got it. I persuaded my wife to marry me, and then it's just like a race down the slope.
Yeah. Do you ever look at that thing of that just once
like,
more?
Feel it again.
Once more, yeah.
Yeah.
Put a pair of pants on and everything just fits nice. You think, God, this is lovely, this.
That's my goal.
That's
to go into a high street shop and be like, put a pair of pants to buy. Oh God.
Do you know what I mean? Put on a regular size, like say a man should be 32, 33, just to put it on, buy it off the shop, put it on and go, sound that, yeah. Because like dressing now, it's like you try it on, you go, oh, just that's. Yeah. But if you were just in a good shape, almost any style, anything will look better for you.
Yeah, no.
So you go baggy, tight, skinny.
Yeah, but at what point do you stop being that vain? Well, as you said, you know full well, I couldn't.
Well, I think you could give a fuck.
Right.
I think you could, but I think you're just far enough gone to
switch
not,
it off.
Yeah, to switch it off. But I think you would like it.
I think like anything in life, also there's not barriers. There's grades of it. So I dye my beard.
You dye your beard?
Takes like 10 years off.
Oh, that's disgusting.
White beard. Dye the beard, takes 2 seconds. You put that just for men type thing in it. Like you put it in 5 minutes. I'm 10 years younger.
Did you admit that straight away, or did it take you a while?
No, I don't give a shit about that. I don't have like ego like that. What do I care?
You just went, I'll dye the beard.
Yeah, straight away.
If you don't care about admitting it, why do it in the first place?
Because it just I just think because it's not my fault it went white.
Did you dye your hair? Or did your hair?
I did dye. I don't normally, but I did the other day because I had like a half-hour window, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna dye my hair.
Right.
Not what little hair I have left anyway.
Yeah.
I can't.
But you know what it is? It's such a white. I want to have a beard. It's so white that it actually like ages me.
Yeah.
To be beyond my actual age.
I do get that.
I think you look quite. I think is it proper white like proper?
Like white, just a white beard. Yeah. So I just do it. It's a little thing and takes 10 years off, and I'm like, I feel a little bit better about myself.
What about a goatee? A white goatee? That could look quite.
Why? We'll see if you invite
Would
me
you
back
go
on the
to
next.
would you go
podcast.
to Turkey? If
I would do the
invited?
head. Well, so the hair
Right.
thing. I think I don't. I think I'm past the point of no return. I think you got to have enough. There's
Okay.
just too. There's not
I
enough.
think
on the
you've got enough. I think.
No, not that. There would be like you'd have to literally chop off the back of my head.
Yeah,
Is that what
take the
yours
whole
would be like
thing.
if you didn't shave it?
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I know it seems like a contradiction, but
Would
I
you
am
ever-
over vanity. Except for weirdly, I just think you know what it is. Here's the other thing, right? Maybe it's not that I'm over vanity or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like, what is the minimum amount of work that you can do to look okay?
Yeah.
See, I get to the point
Yeah.
of going,
Yeah.
the minute you put it anywhere, just put the work in. So I've gone nothing. I'm not moist. I don't do anything.
I don't
brush
know.
my teeth. That is hygiene.
Yeah, but
like I won't moisturise. I won't do anything. I'll shave my head. That is probably the most I'll go, because I think once you start putting the work in, just do it. If I was going to shave my beard, I might as well just go to the gym.
I don't know. That seems like
that's just
that seems
my
like
thing.
10 minutes versus.
I
a
know, but it
lifestyle
just feels
choice.
like that. It feels like if you're going to start going down that bandwagon, just jump in.
Yeah,
Jump on and do it
for
all.
me, it's like all gradual. Just what are the little life hacks that will allow me to
That's what everyone's after, though,
get
isn't it?
by? Yeah,
Yeah.
the minimum amount of effort.
Pills, all
and
that sort of stuff.
and that's why I became a comic, because it was like looking around, and it was like what's
Yes.
the smallest amount of thing that I could do to.
Yeah. Well, that's when it
Survive.
comes
Yeah.
to work. When it comes to work, and like what's the littlest amount of effort I can put in to get the most amount of money? That's basically what I'm
Yeah,
trying
and
to
that's
do.
then became stand up.
But when it
How
co-
long have you been a comic?
24 years, 23 years.
Yeah.
I've survived for 23 years. But my problem
many
is,
kids?
I think I took the survival thing a little bit too literate.
Right.
Not flourish, because if
Yeah.
you want to flourish as a stand, you got to put the fucking work on. You got to be doing
Yes.
podcasts. You got to be fucking hustling, calling around, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's like
Yeah.
I just want to survive.
Yeah, that's what
How
I'm
old-
at now.
how
I'm
old-
literally you, 20 years.
How old's your oldest kid?
15, and my
Right.
youngest is 6.
So
So I've got 5.
So when you found out about the first one, did you switch from survive to
No.
a little bit more survive to comfortable?
I read. I don't know why I feel like ashamed of this, but I flicked through, read, what's his name, Michael McIntyre's autobiography thing.
Right, yeah.
And but I mean, when I say, it was like you could read it in an hour type thing. It was
Yeah.
good though, but there were 2
I've read
bits
it,
of
yeah, I read
advice.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 bits of thing that for him it seemed like he had a big transformation. Like the moment that he had the kid, he was in debt and all that,
Yeah.
and then that was the thing that pulled his thumb out and
Yeah.
made him do it. The other thing was, what was interesting was how he was this great improviser, and then he sort of made a choice as an agent at the time
Yeah.
where he was like, they were like, you could just focus on the material or you focus on the improvising, and he went down the material route. And then it was a few lucky things that happened. There's that other big thing where he did the right gig at the right time.
Yeah.
He was in that right place, but I think his agent turned up and he
Was the Royal
smashed it.
Variety thing as well on it, yeah.
Well, it was before the Royal Variety, and then that's what pushed his agent to go, this guy's going to be a star. And then the agent went all out on it. Now, does that take away from any of his talent or ability? No, but and he was a great stand-up when he was on the circuit. I mean, Jesus, he would smash the shit out of it, and he would improvise. And I was like, this cannot be improvised because it's so funny. Like it's, when you watch something like, must be.
They've said that before.
There's it's no way. But then you were like, no, because that's about that thing in the ceiling there that doesn't. And he's just he's just a funny guy. Anyway, the point of that story is that's not what happened to me.
That's what happened to us. He won't admit it, but that's what happened to him.
You want a
And
kid?
That's what happened to me.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, when you found out your bear was pregnant, that's when you suddenly went, I need to be this needs to make a living now. It's when you went from
basically
being
what happened was with
willing
me
to
is
die to
I was
smashing
like
gigs.
doing like 10 spots as you will know, just started off going like, oh, I'll just do this and I'll see where I go with it and all that. And I never thought I could earn money from doing it ever. I thought you just turn up and I'll try and get good at this, because I was quite embarrassed about how bad I was and all that. So I was like, ugh. And then when I found I was going to have a child, I was like, oh, now I need to make this pay. That's natural, I think, isn't it?
I think it's just. I mean, maybe I was having a
You
kid.
never switched. I had the same. My kid's 4 soon.
Okay.
And I was saying switching. That's why the podcast started.
Oh, right,
because I was like, right, I need to get torn soon.
I was thing was, when I had the first, I was doing okay, like enough where it seemed like the agent I had at the time was like a big deal agent. It seemed like I was on a certain progression.
Yeah.
Anyway, the interesting thing is, like, so my kids, they were three of them now. The third one who's next door he's about to start secondary school. So I've got 3 kids in secondary school. They go to this school. It's quite sort of middle classy. We live in a flat. Everybody else is in like a proper adult home. Yeah. You know, this is London, North London. So everyone's, you know, so when to get even our flat is worth a lot, but it's a flat without a garden and whatnot. But the point is, you know, they go around to their mates. I've got 3 boys in 1 bedroom. It's an ex-council flat, 2 in another bedroom. And I feel bad. I feel really guilty. And for years, we couldn't afford to go on holiday. Yeah. So there are things like that. But then you sort of, like anything, if you're lazy, you will justify to yourself, like, well, we have each other. We have our, you know, their thing. I was born, I had a crazy privileged upbringing. So I had all that really cool stuff and going to Kenya on safari and all this shit. I never saw my parents and didn't, and, you know, had a terrible relationship. I was in boarding school and never saw my family. So it was a totally opposite end of the spectrum. But the point I guess I'm trying to make is that there is guilt, but my 15-year-old now, all he wants to do is make money. Like, all right, you know, he's just like, I'm going to get a business, I'm going to go to Wall Street, or I'm going to work in America, and I'm going to have an apartment that overlooks the, and I'm like, don't you want to do something that you enjoy and have, like, life is about balance? He's like, no, he wants to make money. And I guess what it is that it's just that inversion of family. You know, my parents had money, but I had a shit childhood. Yeah. I've tried to give them a pretty decent child with me around. I'm like a day-to-day presence in their life, and we have a laugh with each other, but we don't have much money, and now they want to go and make money. So,
are there no spoils from your parents that you can do both?
It's so gutting. It's so upsetting. My mum is like on a mission to spend everything. And it's her money. She earned it, fucking whatever. But, so fair enough. But now she's like, someone told her about, like, you can sell your house to the bank and then you can get, so that money's gone.
Oh no.
And my dad, he's from a working class background. So he's very much like, you know, I
started with not, and you,
you know, so he's you know, he chucked 20 grand when we bought our flat. That's very, very, very grateful for that. Massive help. Or was it 10 grand? Might have been 10 grand each. Anyway, it was big help. So I'm not like turning that down, but that's his thing. And that's all good as well. And maybe there's some money there. Maybe not.
We'll see what
happens.
It's all
a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I think he's like holding. He's like trying to. Well,
they're trying to make you really live a bad life. But they go, he's gonna be fine.
Maybe.
Which is why you've survived for 23 years. Just going, it will be fine.
That's what you've got in the back of your head. In the back of my head, I'm a little bit like, they keep telling me, we're spending everything. There's gonna be nothing left. Like, not that there's loads there, but there's a decent house. Yeah. And they both do fine. And so I'm thinking, there's going to be something. There's going to be something. And then, but my mum was like, just so you know, we've got no life insurance. We're tested up to the eyeballs. There's nothing.
How old are you guys? How old are you?
I'm 37.
32.
See, I'm 48. So for me, it was like, I don't give a shit. I want that money. Yeah. And now that it's like, it's there.
It's in such a distance.
Hey, Dad, how you doing?
How old are they?
They're... he's 80 and she's like 76, but he's 80, but like an amazing. He retired at 55 or 50, maybe even 50. He spent 30 years just like eating well, exercising. He's done everything. Like, this guy is going to go on.
Oh no, my dad's a terrible 57, but no one in our family dies.
So this is going
to go.
But there's another thing is that what's happening now. My youngest, like I say, is 15. Maybe he's the one who's going to make the money,
right?
And then because I know someone who had a bunch of kids who was like, the kids were all our age and whatever.
Have you started setting the guilt in you?
Well, he just like, look, mate, if you get some money, if you chuck some my way, that's all good. But one of the girls married this like multi-millionaire, and then he took care of the rest of the family. Oh, wow. So that's all I need is like one of my kids to marry or become a millionaire.
How many girls have you got?
I've got one girl.
Oh, that's not good. Have you got any siblings either as well?
I got one sibling. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
that's not too bad.
There's
3 of us. I'm the oldest, so I've been letting them know. I'll dish it out.
Favourites. Who's the front runner between you and the sibling?
Oh yeah, her for sure.
Oh really?
Because I've been very clear with my mum. Like, look, I'm not hanging out. I'm not like taking care of you in any capacity. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that sounds fucked up, but you're not fucking. you know, you forget your grandkids' birthdays. I'm sorry, mate. I'm like, I've told you what it takes to be part of my life in that way. Just remember my kids' birthdays and whatever.
You're just gambling on the fact that mum and dads are going to love you enough that no matter what you do or say, they will not see you go
I love
short.
your 48, you still hold on to that. My dad, I've never been to one of my birthdays in his life, and I just have to let it go. Being like, my son's going to turn up his house at times, and he's going to be in the pub, and like, even though he's told us, come round, I'll be there. What? And then in the meantime, he'll have had an offer to go to the pub and go, I'll go to the pub instead.
But he doesn't come to your kid's birthday or anything, or he doesn't.
Oh no, he'll never do that.
Yeah. Or remember them or anything.
I don't think, I'm not sure. I think my dad's been to my house once.
That's asking a lot.
Yeah.
Five.
Write it on a piece of paper, put it by the fridge.
That's once every 2 months. That's a lot.
In the 3 places I lived, my dad stepped foot in one house once.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah. But he's fine. Like, he's give you anything in the world. I always say about my dad, he'll give you anything but time. He'd give you anything but his time, sort of thing, and that's
you know, for the
that's the one
sadly the most expensive thing we spend, isn't it? As we all know,
as we're finding out. Times are getting on.
But I love the fact that you're still clinging on. I've had to. It's been a painful lesson, but just learn to just let it go. It is what it is.
Yeah,
now and again it rears its head again. Don't get me wrong, but
I guess so.
Mostly,
but it's not like I want to be like, I don't want to be a hypocrite at the end.
Yeah,
and go, oh, we're gonna make it's like it.
I'm fully ready to be a hypocrite.
See, the thing is, when you've got kids, right, and if you didn't have like an amazing childhood, it for me makes it just makes it harder. Like in terms of, like, I love my kids. I'm obsessed with my kids. I do everything for my children. Yeah. So to that contrast with the reality of my upbringing, or certainly like the priorities that my mum put on her life.
What were your mates' parents like?
They were like the classic. Got home. I went home. I remember when I was 8 or something. I went back to my friend Michael's house, and his mum had she made him a sandwich, and she said, "How do you want it?" And she cut the bloody crust off. I was like, "What?" My mum had never made, anything. It was like, it was insane. Like,
see, all my mates are the same. All my mates' parents are the same. So there's no like.
Oh, what? There's no like.
So I'm like, he's just what dads are, aren't he? Yeah. This is what dads do. So fuck it.
But then at the same time,
my mum was always fine.
My mum, she became a successful business woman and became a millionaire. She's an inspiration to a lot of people because she was one of the first people to go out there and do it. Yeah. And I had a crazy privileged upbringing, big house. Holidays, all that bullshit. And you know what else? Totally giving me a sense of entitlement, but also a sense of, and this is what you get from like public school, I think, like the best thing you're going to get, I'm sure that there's...
By public school, do you mean?
Private school, whatever. Is you get this sense of, because all of your peers, what does your dad do? Oh, he runs Guinness, or this person does that, or this person does that. So there's never a limit placed on what you could achieve. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you are going to achieve it and whatever, and you have to put the work in. But there's never a point where you're going, there's something I can't do in the world. I want to be prime minister, or I can be the fuck. So you get that, and that is just because that's what you see. You see the possibility. You see it as a reality.
I can do fuck all.
It's never too late.
I can do nothing.
That's the real dream. Yeah. That's when you go a level above.
Right. So go back into that. So you were feeling like you never thought there's nothing you couldn't do.
Yeah, I never thought that. I still don't feel like that. Weirdly, there's not. It's all about how much you're willing to commit and what you're willing to sacrifice.
Which is fuck all.
Well, yeah, exactly. I want to have balance in my life, and I see people I know and peers. Look, this is the weird thing about being a comic that people don't actually appreciate is that the people you start with, the people you see and you hang out with, some of them just become massively famous. Now, everybody that I started with is, if they're still going, are pretty much famous. And you get on the tube or you get on a bus and there's a fucking poster for their special.
We've just been in the museum and I'm going to my mate. That's Dad's mate Deliso. Deliso's on all the videos in like the African centre part of it. Like, that's Dad's mate Deliso from Malawi. So I mean, son's running around, Dad, there's your mate, Dad, there's your mate. Like, yeah, all right, mate, now.
So you see it everywhere, right? But everyone that I know, pretty much, maybe you guys might differ from me from this, but pretty much everyone who I know has made it to that level is a fucking psycho. In terms of, not like a cunt necessarily, like at all, actually, very nice, but a psycho in their...
In
terms of work drive. Yeah. So Sarah Millican, she's fucking working all day. She's a very lovely person, but she's fucking sitting down and she's working. Simon Brodkin, he's like at his desk at 9 and he's sitting there at 5 and he's making his videos, he's doing it. like, I haven't written a joke for a long fucking time. So,
Do you ever get really angry about the fact you don't have that, or like not angry, but like a bit like fuck's sake?
Well, for not having the drive, so
Just go like, fuck, I wish I had that.
No, not at all. Like maybe to be fair, maybe I did back in the day. I'm probably a little bit more chilled out about it now.
Right.
Self-knowledge and being a bit more forgiving.
Do you attribute your lack of ethic to anything?
Well,
Traumatic childhood, meaning that you just want an easy life?
No, I think it's just it's
like
about. It is a bit of both, but there is also an awareness of balance, and there is a sacrifice that is to be made. And the people also, here's the other thing, is that like those people I know who are that level of fame, they are like, it's not just the drive and the work, but it's like, say they were here, like everything is an angle for how to get to the next level, how to make it, like everything. Like you're a party, they're looking, you cannot switch off to that, and that is what it takes to make it. Yeah. Now I don't want. Like, I do want it. I really want it. I'd love to be rich. I'd love to be. I'd love to put out some seminal comedy albums.
I feel like we all want the money and then the freedom to be creative.
Or whatever, and then I'd love to put out like seminal stuff and all the stuff that comes with it. But I just also want to not be that like focused. In a way, and you've got to, and I want to spend time with my kids and do the school run and do this and that. And the reality is that those things do go by the wayside. So you have a call to make, and I feel very privileged. I'm doing something I love. I think I do it pretty well. I'm getting paid. I survive. I'm paying the mortgage, and you know what? I feel very blessed, and I've got and I got beautiful wife, lovely kids, great relationship with them, and all of that. So I feel very, very lucky. I'm not trying to be bitter or angry or whatever.
Oh no, well, you're not going to be bitter on this, but we're exactly the same. Like,
like
absolutely no drive. Wish we had it.
I just fully relate.
That's exactly what I'm. Exactly what you're
painful.
saying.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a bad example of somebody.
He's the only one.
He's the
only one I know.
But he has worked hard by turning up every night, emceeing every day.
Yeah, but you've got to realise though, he hasn't.
Did you say Paul Smith?
Yeah, Paul Smith.
And I don't want to belittle what he's done because obviously he's one of my best mates. But in terms of working hard, he's turned up to pay the bills. Like at one point he was on 300 quid a week of hot water doing like 5 nights. You know, like he just worked and in the he was sort of forced to work without realising the work he was putting in. Like he's putting in the work that someone we know who's famous has the drive to do. Well, he's just doing it because he's paid the bills, and it was a case of like, Paul, we need you there, we need you now, we need you now.
To do his hour at the end of the year. So he's always been in that thing. So that's work as well, putting together an hour every year.
Yeah, I suppose.
So he has done the work, but he's just not had to do the other bits that the rest that we look at and get too daunted. We go, that's too much, I can't. Yeah. I need to just sit down and do nothing.
Well, that's it. He had a great opportunity, and he had the ability and talent, and he saw it through. And so fair dues. You know, there we go.
You're not planning a late surge?
Well, look.
Come on, Josh, me and you should get together. Should we do it?
Have you started?
There's a lot.
Did you clip or no?
No, I don't clip. I don't. I just like.
Are you not going to be one of the ones like you're not going to be a stone? You're innocent.
516s, mate. That's a team ready to go.
One of them must be able to edit. That's you've got a backroom staff.
You know what? This is going to sound really, really wanky. Even saying wanky, I realise ages me and also classes me somehow. Like there's a wanky. But anyway, the point is, I don't like. The part of my love of stand-up is the ethereal nature to it. I know it's become the norm now, and you sort of think, but it's being there in the club. And I said something quite witty last night. It just came out of the blue. Yeah, it was like, I'm sure that clip would do funny and do well, but it was like it existed in that moment of time, and that's what made it for me special. And maybe I'm quite clever, so I'm very good at justifying my laziness.
Yeah, I think that's why clips work.
Is that because it taps into that? Yeah,
it taps into because people. It's the sense of FOMO.
That. Yeah,
people see it and go because what's happened since clipping is you used to go to a gig and the idea of doing the same joke in front of someone who's already seen it used to sort of make you go, oh, your stomach churn. You think, what else have I got? What else have I got? And now people are asking for the things they've seen on clips. Yeah. People are asking for the bits they've seen because their sense of FOMO from missing that thing or missing that. Missing being in the room at the time when you drop that material is like, oh, I want to see. I wish I was there. Like, Queen Wembley sort of thing. We all watch YouTube. Lads are going, "Oh, what would I like to be at that? To be at that." People are watching.
You saying that your Ryanair bit is like Queen at Wembley?
No, but you know when people are sitting there on the phones going, "Oh, I wish I'd seen that." Yeah. Are they going to gigs going, "Can we see that material? Can you do that bit?" And then that's where comedy's changed, because that's where the clipping sort of what you're saying is I was in the moment and all that. It's like, yeah, the more in the moment you are at the gig, the better the clip, because the more people go, "I wish I'd been there."
Well, there are two clips we're talking about.
Witty thing?
But there are two clips. There's genuine improvisation, and then there's of course bits.
So
you're right that I think also. I mean, you're right, all of it we said, but the fact that they want to hear bits, which is also kind of what happened in America, wherever Steve Martin, they want to hear crazy guy, or they want to hear that. So I get that, and that is good, because my best mate came to my fourth gig or something, and my second gig, and afterwards he was like really up. He's like, he said, "You cheated. You did that bit last week." Yeah, and that's what people genuinely believed it was. But I guess now people are much more versed in stand-up.
23 years later, he's rising.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but there is a bit like people used to beg Mickey Flanagan for out sort of thing. Like I saw Stefano the other month, and he was screaming at him do the 9/11 stories. So like people do want to see, because I remember when we gigged together a few years ago, and I was like saying to you, when I first started, I went to Top Secret as a punter, but I think I'd only done like 6 gigs. You were on, and you done a bit about Crazy White Boy. Like your goal in life is for a black man to in the gym be like, that's a crazy white boy. And I remember thinking, next time I gave you going, you still got that bit, because I remember seeing it and thinking, that's like so funny. Like just
do it tonight, clip it.
That's so fun. I was trying to explain to my kids the other day. I was saying that I don't remember. You just said that, and I'm going, what the fuck is he talking about? I don't remember that bit. And then it just all slapped into place. I haven't told that story for 10 years or something. So it's all about
doing it on a treadmill, and like black people in the gym sort of thing.
There's a black guy running next to me.
My whole goal is just to have a bar and look at him and go, that's a crazy white boy.
That's so. I was trying to remember. Someone was telling me about the story, but I'd forgotten that was the punchline. But the gist was, I was on a riding machine. This happened to me. I was in the gym back in the day. That's how long ago it was. But I was in the gym, and then I was watching Columbo, and then this guy got on who was going on the treadmill next to me, switched on over the TV, and it was like Columbo, and I was just watching it, and he was a big black guy, and then I do a whole thing like, why does it matter that he's black or not, whatever. But he was a big black guy, and very, and I said, and I was running, so I was trying not to sound aggressive. I was trying to be like, no, and I said, like trying to calmly be like, excuse me, mate, like, and that was also like whole thing, like, how do you say it? Like, mate, I was like, excuse me, mate. He was sort of shocked that I was talking to him like this, like not. And I was like, well, I was watching Columbo, if you wouldn't mind putting it back to Columbo. And he was like, I can't remember what he said, but I remember him getting pissed off, and I remember being scared, like that he was going to do something. And then he just got on the running machine next to me and started running. And then it was like he was chasing me, and that's what the bit was. It was like, it was all like, and I'm trying to get away from him because this guy's chasing me, and I was like increasing my speed, trying to, and then
outrun a black.
But also because he was such a beefy guy, I was quite good on the running machine. But then it became that thing of like where you're checking out each other's speed, and so I could sort of outrun, and even though I'd been done about 10 minutes already, but I was like, I'm going to show you like what I'm made of type thing, and because you're a big guy, but my fitness levels might be better than yours, and so I was like running, and I really pushed it insane, and then I just I got up and I vomited because it was, but while I was on the thing, I was going for it like fucking what, and then I was just like, this guy's thinking, that's a crazy white boy. I was like, that's my dream. Like, you can't fuck with it. Come on. And it was like, that was my dream. And then I got off and vomited.
That's so funny.
But I haven't thought of that story for.
Yeah, it's just because it was you. It was Bobby Mayer.
Bobby's amazing.
And I can't remember who the third actor was. And Alex, I had just started. Me and my wife on a little trip to London just for our, I think, like 5-year anniversary, like that. And we were just there. And I think, sorry, it was here 30th. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We were just there in London. She was like, do you want to go and see it? And I was like, well, actually, I wouldn't mind. And like I say, Bobby Mayer was on, and he was purposely bombing.
Oh, really? Okay.
He was doing that thing where like he just, the minute he didn't like him, I'm driving this into the ground, but then was going to them, I'm going to get you back when you get back.
He can turn it right.
And then he was turning it around. And I remember watching it, but I remember being annoyed thinking, just do well.
Yeah.
Just do, like, not even as a comic now, I'd be more like that. But even as a punter, I was thinking to myself, you're funny, why don't you just do well? And then like, you were on, and then you crazy white, but I just found, I don't know why, I just stuck in my head. I thought that's so funny.
Oh, well, mate, I'll have to relook it. It's in my notes somewhere. I'll have to find it.
How long's the bit?
It's about 10 minutes total because it's a whole act. It's a whole thing. But I need to find. Well, get that clipped up. Yeah, I have to read it. But but I would say with Bobby, who's brilliant and such a nice guy as well. Right? Just such a nice guy. But I bet I know that I do that, where I'm like, oh, you don't like that? Well, I'm going to do it. Really, I'm just doing the same shit. So I bet he was just doing his shit.
Probably, now I know, he probably was. Now I know it, sort of thing.
But also, he's a great...
I just remember being a punter, like, I just didn't understand. I think I'd done 2 gigs.
So, but it's really interesting seeing someone like Bobby do what he does, and then now, and do pretty much similar material, some of the same jokes, but a lot of new stuff, but the same attitude, but the tiniest of tweaks... I don't think he ever bombs anymore. But whatever to stay committed to do what he does, which for anybody who's never seen him and you should absolutely check him out, is, very, very dark stuff, very, very funny, very dark, very self-deprecating, but like super duper dark, and to still be able to win over audiences, still have likability, and I think
that's what you learn the sort of your likability sort of thing. It's like.
Yeah, it's a trick.
But you learn how to make yourself likable, and for different people, it's
even
different.
if you're doing dark material, that's the trickier bit.
But for different people, it's different how you can maintain it.
Yeah,
I think, like with me, I've just got to be no reaction.
Okay.
The minute I react to a bit, they start my believers. I say it. Okay. The minute I just say it, and then just go, and what? Like that's when they like.
So do you think it's because they don't think that you get that what you've said is?
I think if I react to it. Like maybe this is a chip on my shoulder, but I think if I react to it outside of Liverpool, because in Liverpool I can just do what I want. Like outside of Liverpool, I think it's a bit of classism, a bit of like he means what he's saying here. He can't possibly be being ironic, and I think they think I'm a bit thicker than I am and things like that, and they don't let me. Wouldn't
that work against you then?
No, because if I don't react to it, it's a bit like going, he's playing with us. He's playing with us sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas if I react to it, like I think a bit of them thinks he's agreeing with himself here, or he's enjoying saying that too much. Yeah. So now I've just got to say it, and then I can do it afterwards. But when I say it, it's got to be just boom,
fully committed.
Just I've said it. I'm leaving it.
Well, my dad about. No, he did pull me aside about 5 years into our relationship. 5 years into our relationship.
Josh, get fatter. You're too skinny for them bits now. So
you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. It's smiling. But what he did say was about after I've been doing stand up about maybe for longer than 5 years. But he said, I was reading a Jason Manford interview in the Guardian. And he said, I've been thinking about your problem. Like why you're not successful.
Mum and dad both in like sort of semi-tried to. Once you became a comic, they go, I've got an opinion on these.
Well, my mum came to my second gig or maybe my first gig and said afterwards, that wasn't 7 minutes. Her only feedback was that wasn't 7 minutes.
Right.
That was her feedback. And then she called because I was living at her. She called my dad. They're divorced, but she called him and said. He's mental. He's not funny. He's never going to make it. Like,
your mum said that?
Yeah. Like, how am I going to get him out of my house? Because I'd sort of persuaded to let her. I was like in my early mid-20, and I'd said, look, if you let me stay here rent free for a little bit, then I'll try and make it as a comic.
I can make it. Yeah.
So he's just like,
how am I getting him out?
He's never going to make it.
Get out of the house.
Yeah. How am I going to get him out? And then. And it just made it worse because they never speak. Like the fact that she felt she had to call. Anyway, but my dad, so when I'd say been going about 5, 6 years, maybe a bit longer, he said, I've been thinking about your problem, why you're not successful. And I think, I was reading Jason Manford, and Jason Manford was saying the secret of comedy is likability. Yeah. And the thing is, Josh, you're just not very likable. I was like, okay. So what I did then, which probably hurt me for another few years, was my opening joke for about 3 or 4 years was I used to go on stage and say, I'm not really sure how to get into this because some people think that the secret of comedy is likability, and some people think you should just get straight into a gag. But what do you cunts think? And I would do it, and it would work 50% of the time, and not work 50% of the time. So that probably held me back as well. But in terms of finally cracking it, the two things that happen are one is you get funny anyway. Yeah. Like regardless, and then you have a confidence or an ease and so much of my anxiousness on stage before was this fear of rejection. And when you start knowing that you're funny, you know that something happens where it becomes exponentially easier overnight. It's just such a weird thing. You step on stage, they know you're funny, you know you're funny, you have a good time, there's no stress.
Gets called finding your voice, doesn't it?
Yeah, but even if you're not sure what your voice is, but you're there, you're present. They're not anxious for you at all. Because you know, I've done this now for however many years. Yeah. I'm 99.9% sure this is going to be a fun gig.
It's why it becomes useless going to open mics to do new material.
Well, they don't, but then you step on stage with that essence and they sense it. Oh, so they're going to laugh anyway, you think?
Yeah, because you've been you follow without being audible, you're probably following shite. And just the fact that you step on stage like, this one knows. This one's comfortable. So like, I find now you can't go to open mics to do new material because it's just, you're never going to get a fair assumption on it. Yeah. You're best just doing it on like a midweek pro night or go to a new material night that's all pros.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for me, I don't write any new material, so this advice is not helpful. But smiling was the thing that did. So actually the opposite for me, not doing it deadpan, doing it somewhat deadpan and then allowing myself to smile and letting them in on the joke.
See, when I talk about mine, I don't mean deadpan. I just say it as in like,
just flat,
I've said it now.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah. So I don't care how you react.
You have to definitely do it like that. You can't do it with any fear. I know a guy who's got a really brilliant dark joke and he's just fucking scared. And like, the moment you just fucking smack that fucking out there with no apology, that's when you're going to smash it. That joke's a funny joke.
Gone wrong?
Oh, what? No, no. With the smile. No, it just
with the smile.
The smile, the cheeky smile. No, not less and less so. I can't think of the last time. But it is true. Like when an audience don't like you for whatever reason, and you know, and it could be I've just done. You do a stupid thing. You say to someone, he's 50. Oh, you look a bit older, or you don't know what the fuck's going on, but you've said something that's really pissed people off.
Well, I can understand. So the bit probably one of the reasons why I like Crazy White Boy so much was against that. It cut into who you are. You were there. You had a baseball cap on with a flat cap sort of thing. You looked like you looked like you sort of like.
Thank you.
It liked hip hop because you talk about on stage, like liking hip hop and stuff like that. And then when you do that, it's like, he's cut into who he is. He's sort of belittled himself and like, but at the same time, been honest. That's probably why I like it. Whereas I think some people, you go on stage like that, and if that's not addressed early enough,
maybe,
there's probably people like, and I don't just mean with you. I mean there's things with everyone. So like, I think I go on stage, put myself down, and if I don't, because I compare a bit, but I don't think I'm good at it. I don't enjoy it because I'm very much. Like, when I ask what you do, it sounds more like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what you do? It's a bit too sort of like, who are you? What are you doing here? Not, like, what's your name? Sort of thing. It's very much like a bouncer going, like, deciding whether you can come in tonight or not when I compare. And unless they're on board with me, that's why I don't enjoy it.
Well, I do a lot more comparing now, weirdly. Yeah. And people can't believe it. People I've known for a long time don't believe it, who know me as a stand-up. Like, just comics don't, because they sort of, in a way, my persona for a long time was very... somewhat aloof and standoffish, so they can't believe that I'm an MC. But actually, I think look, people can take a dislike to you for a bunch of reasons, and a lot of the time, I would deserve it, and because of my own insecurities, I would be needlessly aggressive and all of that stuff. And also just a bit of empathy, like I say, I have a very entitled background, very privileged background. Starting in my 20s, I'd been working for a long time, but doing different in music videos and various other things. But suddenly you're with people and they've got kids and they've had a shit day or they're arguing with their wife or whatever it is. You don't necessarily have the life experience in your early to mid 20s to empathize with people having a tough day
or
for whatever
read people enough to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'll back away from this person now.
Whatever. So I would just now. And also, if someone ever talked, if someone whispered to their friend, if anybody did anything that I took as disrespectful, I would go fucking mental.
Really?
And again, this is weird because you guys, we've met after the fact, but first 10 years or so, like I know there's a famous like Larry David like walking on and walking off, but I was like famous for blowing up on stage and screaming at people having fun. I did one of the gigs. Remember, I talk about this story. I've told this story before on a podcast, but a few years ago. But up the creek. Famously used to be like a bear pit, like now it's pretty nice, but it's still you got to deliver the goods. But but back then it was insane.
Like Baby Blue used to be known for it.
It was just like you got to fuck it. But so I'd done the Friday, had a really good gig. I'd only really started. Maybe it was my second 20, and I used to live in Greenwich. Which is where it's based, and my mates who I was at uni with and who I lived with came to the gig, and it was fucking rowdy as fuck, football day, that had been played in the afternoon, England football match, and they were like, shit, are you scared and whatever? And I was like, no. I was like, no, I was here last night, I smashed it, like being totally arrogant. I also had a pint, never drink for a gig, that was a mistake. So I had a pint, and a few things that had gone wrong that, like the guy before me, Ricky Grover, who's amazing. Yeah. He'd been like the perfect guy for that thing, but like, so boys, when I went on in the middle, I smashing the fuck out of it. And like, it was like the fucking rowdiest, crazy fucking gig. It was amazing. Yeah. Someone heckled me and I didn't deal with it. I just ignored it. Right. The same guy heckled me again, and then I did a put down and it was didn't work. And then it went mental. Like, people started shouting, get off, taxi, like 30 seconds. Like, I've been smashing it to being just like, get the fuck off, whatever. Now, you have a fight or flight response. My thing is always fight. And so I'm screaming at these, like,
you're a lazy man. But
well, something kicks in. It's just who I am. And you know, I'll tell you a boarding school story in a second about that. But, I was like, fuck you. I was like, you're all fucking scum.
I love how this is.
They were like, yeah. So it was like a Woolwich. Like, if you know Greenwich, it's like you got Blackheath, you got Woolwich, and there's always been a balance. That's what makes it a special gig. But this was a fucking Woolwich night. It was fucking. It was like, you're fucking scum. Fuck all of you. And they were like, yeah. I was like, you. I remember this is one thing that I shouted. I was like, you don't determine how I feel about myself. I'm like, whatever. I know. It was so cringe and so angry.
I was like, we've won.
I was like, fuck you. So anyway, then the guy at the back wasn't giving me a red light. I was like, I don't see a fucking red light. I'm going to fucking stay on as long as I fucking want. He thought it was hilarious, like the son of the owner. He thought it was like the funniest shit ever. Like, it was crazy. And so eventually I was like, right, fuck it, I'm going to do a joke. And like, people are screaming. Basically, half the people went to the bar. People are screaming. This is how long ago it was. Russell Howard was emceeing. This is still when he was on the circuit.
Before Jeffries got hit.
Yeah, this is before Jeffries. And they were, so then I was like, what did I say? I was like, I was like, I basically got to the point where I was doing my material like this, like I was going, I was walking down the road, because there were people just shouting at me. And then I was like, right, I'm gut. Like, so I got off like half the people.
Did you do your time or not?
I did like 25. I was like, fuck you. And then, so I got off. The bouncers thought someone was going to stab me. Russell Howard had got the bouncers to escort me off. He said, someone's going to stab him. Someone's going to stab him. So I walked out. The bouncers there. My friends were there. Oh yeah, I went up to the upstairs bar. My friends came up to me and I said, they looked at me like I was mental. And I was like, as much as I can try and explain what just happened, I don't think there's no point. To this day, they still don't believe I'm a comedian. 20 plus years later, it doesn't matter.
So many people think I'm shy. They just saw me in the first 6 months.
Ridiculous.
And you can't even be off going. Like,
and you know what? And they called me.
Either come again or like whatever.
And this is how cool Up the Creek are. They called me and said, could you come back tonight? Yeah, on the Sunday night, they said that was fucking hilarious. They didn't give a fucking shit. They were like, they just thought that was funny as fuck.
Yeah, that's good.
So and I've always been in with them, and I always love them, and I'm grateful to them for that. And I'm sure there is a point to that. Was it a story about how gigs go bad? Anyway, the point was, I was sort of somewhat known for losing it. Like, if someone didn't talk or anything, I would lose it. My point is now is if I see someone talking or hear someone talking, or if someone heckles, I have empathy for whatever it is. Their reality, maybe they just want to feel like the big man, or maybe they had too much to drink, and maybe like whatever it is. Whereas before I took it like as a direct attack on the core of who I am. Now it's like some shit's happened, and try and work with this and make it funny and not get angry and just.
You learn to try to understand the heckle as well. Sometimes people just think that's what they're meant to be doing. Like they don't realise they're anything wrong, sort of thing. Like,
what if if they're like hammered?
Then I mean,
you can't do anything with nothing. They'll just gonna keep making noise.
It's when you put them down like 3 times, and they're like, it's like you don't realise you've lost it. You just
when you get it. But then you should be in like a social club.
You should be in a club good enough to say fuck
security,
right?
And the guy who runs it doesn't want to kick anyone out, and you go, well, I've spoke to you 6 times in 8 minutes, and you just got to go, well, what is the point in this?
I mean, if you there is a point where you get to. I remember seeing Ben Norris at the store, and there were a bunch of young women in their sort of 20s, pretty as well. 2 of them wouldn't stop talking, wouldn't stop hacking. He literally did. It was probably one of the best things I've ever seen in stand-up. And actually, I saw Tom Stade, is one of my heroes, do something similar and some shitty Jeff Whiting gig 20 years ago. Pretty much exactly the same here, where they just...
Jeff, by the way.
Did that.
Do you have a gig for Jeff? No.
I have a soft spot for Jeff, to be fair, and
No,
he's a big help for people going from 5 to 10s and 20s and stuff like that. He serves a role within the circuit.
He's a London thing. I don't.
Yeah,
think
and he runs a lot of
yeah.
shit gigs and like the West Country.
It's
as
more.
well,
It's more infamy.
Allegedly.
Some of them are nice, some of them won't.
No, what I mean for Northerners, it's more infamous than anything else.
Yeah, he's
No
an
real
institution.
experience
He's an
with
institution. So, but anyway, the point is, both of those situations, drunk women, as we know, I don't give a fuck if it's sex or not. Drunk women will not shut up. They will never be told. When women drink, their adrenaline, their testosterone levels increase to the base level of a man, which is why when women drink, that's an absolute fact, and their bodies literally cannot handle it. Because that's why they get in fights and stuff like that. They get shouted, they get aggressive. Exactly. So this is what so these women and this at the store heckled him. Jeff, you're not going to get cancelled.
You're at the cancel stuff. We'll get on to yours.
Don't tell you with a few limoncellos before she went in.
So Twitter, anyway, Josh. How are you on Twitter?
We'll get to that. Anyway, he just did 20 minutes dealing with these two. He would put them down.
Yeah.
They would heckle back. He would put them down. It was 20 minutes. It was beautiful. And the same with when I saw Ben. And then afterwards, this woman came up. We were all sitting at the bar in the store, and it was like everyone was pretty much empty. But this young woman came up to us and said, "I'm so sorry. It's my birthday today. I'm a massive fan of stand-up. That's why I brought my friends down. They behaved badly, and I'm really sorry about it." And Ben was like, "Oh, don't worry about it at all. That's fine. It was fine." Then one of the drunk women came up and was like, "And another thing," and he went, "Shut the fuck up! Fuck you!" Like he switched. Yeah, he screamed. It was so funny. Like no one was in the room. It was just like
so like placid and gentle.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. But he was like, "Fuck you!" He was so. But
I'm not letting you think you're right.
But I wonder if there becomes a point where you get to a peak or a level within this where you can just have fun for 20 minutes with someone and if not getting and still top them and whatever. Maybe I'm trying to think, have I done it for 20 minutes? No, but I've definitely had extended periods now where I will just keep on coming back.
I've done bits. I think we've both done it. You with Alexander's we talked about before. I've had it where you just give them what they want for a bit, and then I think sometimes, but this is more with men than women because. Not women can't be told, but women can't be told. With a man, you can sort of give them what you want for it and go, like, I've let you have, I've give you that. Now you got to leave it for everyone else. You got to leave everyone else alone.
Well, there's some reason. There's reasoning.
There's
reason. You cannot reason with a drunk woman, and that's just the reality of it. That's not. I don't give a fuck
if that drunk man.
Drunk man can absolutely. There is some light within the darkness.
It's a threat of violence.
No, but
depends on the mates.
No, it's the mates. It's there's some appeal to reason within the core of there is some logic that exists still within them that can be reached. Not that women aren't logical, but when it comes to alcohol, it's all emotion. And then doesn't matter that you can get 500 people screaming, "You're a fucking cunt, shut up." Yeah. And they will still be like, "No," because there's no ability to go, actually, maybe all these people hate me and they might have a reason.
Or just the fact, I just think maybe it's just because they think I can't get hit here.
This is, by the way,
pissing off 500 people in London. I'm thinking, what are these going to fucking
white women? But white women, so it's fine.
But like,
we're talking about white women, so it's fine.
Like, if someone goes, "Shut up or I'll just knock you out," that can't really happen with a woman, I don't think.
Right, so you think that's why they can't?
Yeah, because a little bit less.
Because there's no definite, immediate end.
Bouncers don't want to... Generally, bouncers are men, usually. Yeah, and they don't want to manhandle a woman in front of everyone because it can look a bit... If we're men on stage, with another man, if they thought, "Oh, he's having me off too much," they're not going to shut up. They go, "Oh, I was coming fuck it." You had it on stage at Hot Water when he tried to fight you.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
You do get that, but the reason why I don't think it's there is truth to it, whilst I don't think it's always truth, is that I think a drunk woman is surprised when they're kicked out because it's like, well, why are you kicking me out after being massively destroyed? So I just don't think that. I think that their sense of being right is just all encompassing. Does that make sense? So
it makes sense. I don't know how well it'll go down online though. But
certainly amongst drunk women.
But it won't be getting clipped anyway.
How many drunk women do you have listening to this podcast?
Not a lot.
Actually,
drunk women. Yeah, we're not drunk ones. Twitter, how's Twitter working out for you?
Twitter has. I love a little tweet now and again.
On as well, independent.
Oh yeah. So Twitter, when it joined, I think it was 20 years, 15 years. No, not 20 years ago. It can't be that long. No, 2012. So 12 years ago, something like that. Yeah. Twitter, believe it or not, to explain to any youth out there, and probably not on Twitter because everybody's on.
Fry was the man, wasn't
was the man? Yeah. It was like, do it. I'm doing some knob gags. I'm trying out my material. I write, here's a gag, or this funny thing, or can this be put it out? Oh, I got 10 retweets. Maybe that'll be a good gag. That's what it was. Yeah. And some funny. It was like that. And then 2016, 2017, it shifted for me with the sort of Corbynism and whatnot, where it's like, so after posting 5 years of just stupid, inane stuff and just using it as a sort of new material generator type thing. Then it was like I started seeing a bit of like anti-Semitism from the left. I'm on the left. I'm traditionally a Labour voter, and I grew up. That's how my parents worked for Labour. And then it was like, and then trying calling it out. I'm Jewish. I should explain that. And then it was just the reaction I found was like the gaslighting. That it was like the inability for anybody on the left to just go, oh yeah, that is a problem, or that there is an issue here that needs to be dealt with. Or it was like, no, we're on the left, so we are automatically good. You thus must be bad. You are obviously some fucking Zionist agent or agent of Tories who just want to not pay taxes, whatever fucking mentorship. And all I'm trying to be is like, this is fucked up. And this person is a left-wing person, not a fucking right-wing person. And the gaslighting sort of made it worse, and then everyone's doubling down. So they're doubling down, I'm doubling down. Next thing I know, I'm this fucking mental Twitter arguing machine.
And GB News comes calling.
Then because of that, and by the way, it should be pointed out, Labour was found guilty of breaking the law and discriminating against Jews by the HRC, and all of that shit that we said was true, was right. And now we've seen how the far left, but the far left absolutely is fucking entrenched in anti-Semitism, along with the far right as well. They're not fucking goodies or anything. But the idea that you are automatically on the left and just right is not the case anymore. And then I saw it so through that, then your algorithms, and they do what they do. You start seeing things like people I know, again, nice traditional lefties, celebrating when a woman gets punched in the face at a thing because she's a transphobe. By a biological man with long hair, who says that they're a woman, and this person, and then I saw that happen. This was around 2018 or 19. You go, that something feels wrong here. Like that can't be right. And when you start seeing the sort of virtue signaling, or you see people like, this transphobe, this bigot deserves it, and you're going, wait a minute, and then you find out the woman who got hit in the face is actually left wing, but she's going, I just don't think that men should be in female prisons or what. You start looking into it. So when the left was like wrong on this issue, then it's like, well, what else is once you take away the default I'm left wing, so I'm just morally good, and you realize actually there are issues that aren't really left right, but they're presented as left right.
Yes,
is the thing. So then I got into that, seeing how this thing of basically women's rights, as we're seeing in the press, a biological male in a female sport, the cheating, the unfairness, and you see all the shit that goes along with it, gender ideology, the dangers of giving drugs to children who are basically autistic or gay. So all of this shit, and again, you're trying to sort of go, well, maybe we should look at this. Maybe there's, and then it was just like, you're a fucking bigot, you're right, you're far right, you're a fucking you're a transphobe, you're whatever, because you're going, well, there are two biological sexes. That's it. So you're saying a scientific fact, and you're told all this shit. And so how that journey happened for me was Andrew Doyle, who I knew a bit when he was a circuit comic. He was working at GB News, and he has a show called Free Speech Nation, and Andrew is a sort of libertarian, I guess, gay guy, and he. Not that should, but the point was he's not fitting your mode of right. He's not right wing, and shouldn't fit your mode of right wing. And he had the show Free Speech Nation, which is all about sort of censorship and stuff. And I sent him a tweet saying, like a DM saying, "Oh, this might be good for your show," or something like that. It was like my 6-year-old then at the time, 6 or 5-year-old daughter was told to she was getting some injections and she was asked for her gender identity, like, is she a they, them, is she whatever? And I was like, this is fucking meant. She's 6. And he said, oh, do you want to come on my Free Speech Nation show? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Because he gets comics on to just chat about these issues. And then from there, then he said, oh, we're doing a show called Headliners, which is comics talking about the next day's newspapers. Yeah. So do you want to come and do that? And I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And then I've been doing it now like 2 and a bit years. I fucking love it. Yeah. Because I don't really talk about this stuff in my stand-up, but there are certain issues that I feel very strongly about. Right. That I get to talk about. And there are also, in terms of like politics and stuff, I don't believe like the preaching to the converted. So if Trump comes on and I'm dissing Trump or whatever, I'm going to get a bunch of people go, oh, you fucking Trump, Trump's amazing or whatever it is. Yeah. And then an abuse, it's not that I want the abuse, but the point is that I feel like if some guy was like trying to prove that this show was right wing or I was right, whatever. And I said, look, all you're going to see is me bitching about Brexit, bitching about Trump, bitching about like the far right, whatever. Yeah. I'm sorry that if you think that me calling out biological reality and makes me a fucking bigot or whatever. Yeah. So
it's like the selectiveness of offensiveness, isn't it? Yeah. I'm offended over that, but I didn't care about the other things. So, I agreed with you on everything else, but I didn't agree when you called out that person. Yeah, of course. I'm fine to call out the other 7 people, but I can't call out the 8th one.
But this is the tribalism that we exist in, where I think those labels that we have, like left wing, right wing, don't fit certainly certain topics.
Was there ever a fear in you to go onto GB News and things like that? Because we joke around about like sometimes you just nod along and say you believe because you think I know as a comic I shouldn't be that. I shouldn't go that way. So like obviously the biggest one for you is the Israel-Palestine sort of thing lately. It's like because we were joking, we were saying yesterday. He said, as a comic, you just think you're free Palestine because that's what you're told. That's the best thing for your career, so you just carry on doing it. Well, I think so was there any fear of like, oh, this is going to cost me?
I think something? It has cost me, but they are once you are freed, and I was freed on Twitter to say stuff like just putting my foot into a certain thing, going onto a debate, going. Like maybe men shouldn't be in women's prisons, or whatever. Like once you do it and once you say that stuff, you just like it frees you, and then you just and the pushback might be bad. You get a lot of shit. I mean, at the peak of like 2019, at the peak of it all, I was having like fucking thousands of Corbynites trawling through my tweets, abusing me online, like. It was insane, the hate.
When you say like the survival thing, lazy, sort of just doing the minimum. To start to get involved in this seems like a lot of extra work you're taking.
It's like the opposite of that.
It sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. That happen. But I don't see it work.
An easy life.
Because you're very much he's nothing. You wouldn't know his opinion on anything.
Like, I don't want to.
I'm a little bit more
because I'd be like, oh God, I'll just say that and then whatever and then. That's why I'll do stuff on stage. I'm not very. I don't like to put online. Okay. I don't like to film stuff online. So I'll do it in the room and I'll be like, well, it's just a joke. Here we go. But then you go online, then it's all this. Oh, I didn't want to kick off with that and that. It was a joke. Whereas you getting involved with all this online seems like it's just a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but the difference is I don't see it as work. Like they are things that I feel absolutely invested. So like the whole Israel. So for me, it's like I am there when it happened October 7th. Like I spent pretty much 3 to 4 months from 6:30 in the morning till like 1 in the morning, tweeting, retweeting, putting out facts, trying to alter the narrative, putting out the facts of what happened, putting out the facts of the mass rapes, fighting the people who were trying to like gaslit or come out with their mental shit, or like the bombing of a hospital, and it's like actually turns out it was from a fucking Islamic jihad group, whatever, and like a rocket that misfired. Trying to do anything, change the narrative. Now that isn't work for me. That is like I see that as like survival of like of my family. I don't want to get all too serious, but like as Jews in this country, and to fight that fucking hate. And fight that disinformation out there. So it was like it was exhausting. I was fucking frazzled, like absolutely. And there's no money in it, but it wasn't work. It was like I have to do it. And it's the same with the gender ideology stuff is like I have to fight for. I see like again fighting for my
kids,
fighting for my kids, fighting for them not to be taught this shit in school, this mental anti-science stuff that can have a real harm and impact on children, on gay children, and so it isn't what now. The funny thing is, or the weird thing is, it's in a way has become my job. So it wasn't my job. Yeah. I was just doing it. Now I do get paid by GB News to whatever, but it's not like I'm not trying to set myself up as like some cultural commentator with the hot take on every fucking thing. Like whether or not I was at GB News or not, I'd still be online. I'd still be saying exactly the same shit. It's just someone has given me a platform, an additional platform to be able to say what I think in. But there are some issues where I'm not that bothered about that people get really upset about. And then like, and I don't necessarily tweet about them, but like suddenly I have to talk about something.
Just because it's part of the show.
I'm like, all right, well, here's what I actually think about it.
Cost you live work?
I think so, and I think the circuit at that time as well, like I feel like the wheels moved in the last couple of years a little bit, but there was a point of fear. I think people were really scared. Every comic I felt like was scared. Like this, you have Jerry Sadowitz, known for being outrageous, getting literally cancelled at a gig, getting his gig pulled in Edinburgh. No comics really standing up for him. Stuart Lee, who's sort of the king of comedians or whatever, not sort of making excuses for the cancellation. Like everybody living in fear to a degree, and self-censorship that arises from it. So I think it has changed now, and I think at the time there was, and it's not just comedians, it's like I feel like a lot of industries were just scared of a few very mouthy people. Like we got Andrew Neil or whatever. Like, can't he'll be like, "You're a fucking." No one wants to deal with that. You're a fucking bigot. You're whatever.
No one can be arsed.
He's and
there's
then
nothing I say it's going to determine you any other way.
But I think people would be like, "Oh well, I better not book that guy because Andrew Neil's saying that he's a bigot and whatever." Right. Now you're just going to go, "He's a fucking twat. Fuck him." Or some people will. There are still some bookers who are afraid of. People want an easy life. I get that. I want an easy life. If this shit wasn't happening, I'd just be still putting out knockbacks.
Do you think being like, I won't comment on the Israel-Palestine sort of thing because I've got no real, like, you're living it, I'm not. But in terms of like the gender stuff and things like that, do you ever think being in London sort of makes that a bigger issue? Because when you talk about it, like even the Jerry Sadowitz thing and the thing going on in Edinburgh, because we're so like, especially in the Northwest now and what we've done outside of the industry, the way Have a Word has and Paul Swift's gone certain ways, I look at a lot of that and just think it's all just bullshit. It doesn't exist in the real world, so I'm not going to let it sort of worry me. Like the Jerry Sadowitz thing getting cancelled, I did think it was wrong. Like everyone knows what he's about. Everyone knows he should.
He had it on his flyers. He had it on the website.
The venue should have done that. But at the end of the day, if you go the Fringe and you play into their bollocks, you have to run the risk of that's going to happen to you. By being at the Fringe at the time, being part of that festival, then you sort of sign up to that risk. And then so part of me sort of thinks, well, it's I just think it's like I just sit there and go stuff like that. I think it's not like it's not real in a whole extent. I like the same with the gender stuff. I go, all right, well, look, I've got two cousins who are transgender. I can see what they go through, and I'm a lot of bit like, but a lot of the stuff day to day, a lot of it's just online, and you just turn it away. It's fine. But obviously, like say race stuff, and that's different. But and then I look at that and I wonder, because sometimes you talk about, you see loads of London comics, like say that Andrew Neil, and I don't really know him, but you see everyone seems to be wrapped up in it. But I look at it and go, is that just because you're all in London? So many is so close with it. Because it just doesn't seem to be happening outside of there as much.
Well, there's probably truth to that, and you're probably somewhat insulated because you have your podcast, because Hot Water, I think all they care about is who's funny. Yeah. But in London, there's definitely...
Allegedly.
But I think that there is that.
That's where the industry exists.
But you say like, that's their bubble, referring to Edinburgh. That's not their bubble. That's our bubble. They have overtaken that bubble with their ideology. So someone like Sadowitz has more ownership, arguably, of Edinburgh than anyone. He's one of the first guys who started it.
You're fighting a losing battle with that.
Well, are you though? Whether it's losing or not, there's a battle to be fought there.
Dead Meat have just done their own festival like last weekend.
Well, there's
ways around it. Going there and being like, you sort of know what you're asking for. That's the right, but you know what you're going to come up against.
But right is right, and so it's like even. I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about like
battles that are we're fighting, which the battles, like you say, battling any anti-Semitism for your own safety, your child's safety is 100% always going to be the right thing to do.
But fighting for the future, fighting for. I love this medium. I love stand-up, so I'm fighting for the right for any stand-up to say whatever they want, you know.
But then I just believe we take the medium elsewhere.
But maybe because you're not seeing, but it does bleed into London and other gigs around London or whatever. Right. Maybe it's less so here, but there is that fear,
sometimes I do look at it and think, not it's London-centric, but I think I feel the medium shifting. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So when you're saying, like, I love the medium, I'm fighting for that, I look at it and go, yeah, well, just take the medium elsewhere. There's enough demand for the medium as art.
You know what? I think you're right. I think that what you guys have done and you know, and all that stuff.
It's more Howie than massively like hot water than else. We're sort of the next
the
wave,
example
you know
that has been set is to then we're going to step and do our own thing, which is amazing. And work without the system, create our own system. So that is, of course, thing. And now you are seeing a little bit of that. You have Comedy Unleashed in London that's now doing gigs around the country as well, where they've sort of stepped out and they're like,
but then they're not really. Comedy Unleashed hasn't really worked outside of London because.
Well, that's not. I don't know. If
I don't want to belittle them, so maybe it has. But I know the North's feel of Comedy Unleashed is it's just every other gig up here.
Oh no! I think you're right. I think that. I think
they tried to do one in Manchester. It didn't sell well.
Oh no, that's not true. They did one in Manchester. It fucking absolutely sold out.
I tried to go Leeds because I remember
they've got it in Leeds. I've done it twice.
Stigma attached to it. Same with GB News. Same with Comedy Unleashed.
Of course, but you say that's fear. Is that fear? Like, why should people like? No one is doing anything really. My set there is not going to be any different than I do tonight at Hot Water. You know what I mean? I do exactly the same shit. The only slight difference is the audience. And you think, like, I remember first time I went to it, I was like, does this mean are they going to be right wing or are they going to be whatever? I didn't know what the fuck they would be. All they mostly are libertarians. There's a lot of lesbian turfs. Yeah. There's a mixture of different people, like, you know, around. There's
more people who are sick.
There's a lot of Brexit people, like, sick of being told to
spoon-fed what they should like. And then, like, that does lead to more people like that.
They might clap at a joke a bit more because they think, oh, we're getting that they wouldn't hear. The thing is, actually, you would get it at another comedy club.
It's an environment that it's accepted in, at least. Like, it's not like we know there's somebody, everyone feels like it's going to be okay. They might not think it's funny, but they go, I'm fine with it. Whereas you go to a normal gig, they go, they are fine with it.
You feel like you're a better person for being okay.
It only takes one or two to really ruin a room.
That's all. One person. So if you go to one will ruin a gig.
Comedy Unleashed.
Everyone else insecure. Yeah, you're not going to get
great. You might have been that good, but I'm not going to ruin the room.
Yeah. So it's a different. So they're really lovely gigs.
Sorry for belittling Comedy Unleashed, but I just know. I know the attitude
they did a tour
amongst people here. When they saw them leave London was like. It's just every other gig up here is like that. So
I'm sure, but every gig in London's like that. I mean, apart from the particularly like woke gigs, whatever they are. But no, they did a tour that I don't think did amazingly or like 50 steps off, but they've got these core nights.
Right.
Those are, like I said, I did the first night in Manchester. It was like, instead I did the one in Edinburgh. It was like literally could not fit more people in.
Fair enough,
So there is this very much a desire out there. But as you say, if they went to Hot Water tonight, they'd see a lot of the same stuff. I don't know, I don't know if that's true of all clubs necessarily. Maybe more up north, but in London, I think there's a lot of self-censorship now of people, of promoters, like 99 Club. Like they were great gigs and they've gone like super duper.
Yeah, well, there's clubs up here who like sort of, but it's who they're selling to though. They haven't gone. They haven't gone. No, you definitely can't do that. But they've gone. We're going to get complaints if you do that. So we'd rather you wouldn't.
People want an easy life. I understand that.
But most clubs up here, you just do what you want. It's like Dapper Laughs told me last week. Some of your material's a bit dark. I'm like, mate, you've been on fucking news, mate. When you tell me my material's dark, what the fuck are you on about? Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a weird. But Dapper's an interesting one because he's done headlines a few times. And I think I heard, was it you guys who did the podcast talking about how he'd, like the reality of the story? Like, was it was a podcast talking about the reality of his cancellation and how actually.
Oh no, Green Room, Tony and Jamie. He was on Tony and Jamie.
I remember hearing a little bit of it.
He might have been on
it was just like they went into why he was cancelled, and then you go. So I guess.
Oh no, it might have been us. They wouldn't have gone into why. Like I went into it.
So they really,
spoke about
it was really interesting how I didn't know the full story of it, and at that time, and that was arguably the first kind of cancellation. You just went along with stuff, because everybody else did, and he must be a misogynist, racist idiot, whatever it is, and then you're hearing, but.
I was guilty of it.
Yeah, I was guilty of it.
I went along with it because I was a new comic. So I just went, oh, he's shit.
Well, there's a
even though he was smashing it, and this I thought he was all right, and she didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I saw the clips. I watched on TikTok. I saw the clip got him cancelled. It's like, well, that's just fucking stupid. All that is just bad wording. But anyone could do that on a bad night.
But also with the context of what she was saying.
Well, she was saying, fuck me, and he's going, he calling me a rapist, and then this girl's going, fuck me, and he's going, look, she's gagging for it. And you're like... Yeah, but if you know all that's happening, that's just poor wording sort of thing. That's just someone who hasn't been careful with his choice of words. Yeah. But that was the final. But like you say, there's all sorts going on top of that sort of thing.
I am much more cynical now because of that journey that I've been on. Because I'd see an instant that I knew happened, like knew the realities of what happened. To see then it presented in the Guardian, I was always been a Guardian reader. I used to write for the Guardian and whatever, and then to see them fucking lie, like not just fucking misrepresent the truth, fucking lie. There was an incident in LA. This black woman and her 6-year-old daughter a guy went into this wee spa, in this Korean spa where everyone gets naked. He was naked and he was erect in front of her. She went out and said, "I've got my 6-year-old daughter. This guy just came into the women's room." And they were like, well, that's actually a woman, and so, and whatever. Called her a bigot. This black woman called her a bigot. Her 6-year-old daughter who's just been exposed to, goes out. The Guardian. Then it turns out, the Guardian printed this, and they said, oh, it turns out that she belongs to a church. So there's actually no evidence there was a man at all, and it started riots outside this whole thing. Turns out. The guy was a fucking sex offender on not parole, like for exposing himself to a bunch of fucking cheerleaders or whatever. So, I mean, the way if you read this Guardian article, you'd be like, oh, this sounds like she's a bigot who deliberately set it all up and whatever. They just fucking lied about it, and they never retracted it. And my point is that I am not willing to take one source of information anymore. From anybody, from even the people I agree with, or even if you just have to have a couple of different sources, whatever newspaper, Twitter account that you follow, whatever it is. I've been burnt, and you've got to learn.
But I think the problem is now people just don't even take any sources.
Honestly, there's too much.
People now just go. But the problem is, it now becomes Twitter and TikTok are your source of information, because you go, I know they all lie. They've all got their own agenda and they lie so much. So I'm just going to... And that's when echo chambers become a danger. Because that's when echo chambers become a danger.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, if you were to ask me what's going on in Israel, all I know is Israel are horrible because of my Twitter. Because besides from you, everyone on my Twitter, all they do is retweet the horrible things Israel done, and no one ever says anything about Palestine, except for the odd time when you go, you do know if you were, like, someone will say, you do know if you lived in Palestine, you'd be stoned now, you don't know that.
Yeah, well, like they're the queers for Palestine. Yeah,
they're the few things that I see. And that's when I think the problem is, because the newspapers and being Scouse and having an uncle who died at Hillsborough, the sort of thing, I've had that thing for a long time that I just won't read anything, don't believe the bollocks. But then the danger is you should become susceptible to either no information and you become ignorant to everything, or the only information you get is echo chamber stuff, and you're never going to know the truth anyway.
Yeah. But there is another option, which is read everything. Be suspicious. It is hard. It is hard.
And that requires extra work for me.
And that's why the good thing about being out arguing on Twitter is that my algorithms mean that I get thrown up a lot of the opposite arguments and whatever. So that's quite good. Part of my job now as working at GB is doing this headlines thing. I've got to read every newspaper. I've got to read the Telegraph. I've got to read the Times. I've got to read the Mail. I've got to read the Guardian. I've got to read the Independent and the Mirror and whatever. So and I know that is a lot of work for sure, but it does mean you can achieve some essence of the truth at the end of the day.
This is why we need to find someone who you fully trust to do the reading for you. And that's
the
hard.
problem,
that is really hard. That's really hard.
I'd be trusting Josh, but I go, it's not good for me career. So my diary's going to go off, but I think I've got the right end of the story.
I'd like to think that I'm good at calling out bullshit, whatever side. And then I know I've got it right. When I get abuse from everybody, you're like, okay, I must have got somewhere something closer. But it's not like I like abuse, by the way. I don't enjoy it. And I like some story will happen about Trump saying something, and I know the truth of it because I read all the different things. Yeah. And then Leo's going to say something on the show that is like that view. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, now I got to fucking, here's the actual narrative. And then I know that I'm going to get an abuse. Here's something that happened the other day that I had to call out because I'm now a producer on the show as well. So I was producing the show and I was on it, and I knew, and I deliberately put myself in a situation in between Simon Evans and Leo Kirsten. I knew that they were going to have a counter take on it, and I had to put myself in the middle because I knew that visually and just whatever, that would be the best place to be able. Because the point is to have this debate.
Yeah, to allow the ideas to.
So they both launch into me about some shit about Tommy Robinson. I was just trying to point out this fucking terrorist act that he was arrested under was like because he tried to go through a border without, and that's the act that they arrest you for. And there's an argument to whether they should have implement, that. But the point is that is what they would do if you don't submit to whatever it was. So I'm saying that they're both screaming at me. But then the social media puts out wrongly, so it wouldn't actually go. And I had to call and say, look, you're gonna have to change it so it goes out properly. Yeah. Knowing that a bunch of people are going to be fucking tweeting me going, you're a fucking idiot. Tommy is a great guy. He's the first person who called out this and that. And it's like, but if I do my job, I have to call out what I see as the truth. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the police didn't need to do the fucking terrorist act. But that's the way that I read it from a bunch of sources, that it wasn't about that. There were definitely ways that it was presented, what happened to him leaving the country as fleeing the country. There's other counter arguments to him going home because he lives abroad and he didn't actually have to be at court. So there's all this boring shit. I didn't want to get involved in it. I don't really care that much about it, but I knew that it was part of my job to do that reading, to provide an alternative if there was one there, which I believe there was, and then I get a load of shit for it. That's part of the job, and it's not something like I say. I'm not even that fucking bothered. I don't even want to fucking talk about that guy. I just don't care that much about that particular thing.
Nihilist.
Nihilist?
Is that? I think that's the word. Is that the word? Is that the right word? Nihilist? Nihilism or whatever?
Well, don't believe in anything.
What's the point?
Oh, yeah.
Was that work that way?
Yeah.
Just like I listening to you now and all the work you're having to do, for me, feels like you're going to change nothing. But I respect you doing it, but I just think there's no way. Everyone's too far gone now. I don't see.
You think everyone's too entrenched?
It's just let the computers come to us and we'll go away. Well, I don't think.
Well, you say that, but the GB News audience, I feel like so much of Brexit. I was like classic snob, like you're fucking racist for voting Brexit. I was marching against Brexit. I went like loads of marching against, but so much of it was about people not feeling heard. Feeling like a London elite were snide and judgmental, and that's true. Yeah. And so I see that now, and now being in GB News, weirdly it has a much higher left wing audience than people think there is.
But still majority to
well, we don't know, but I think also a lot of people have been on that journey where they're left wing, but they're the only channel who are honest about
I think
the
eventually
stuff.
You don't even know where you are.
Yeah,
I don't even believe in wings. I don't believe in wings anymore. But I don't. But then you center lines with certain people, and you think I don't want to be aligned with them cunts either.
So
where am I?
You have to choose what you.
It's a little bit like Chris Rock very famously put it, and there's some things in left wing about, there's some things in right wing about, and if you're one or either on any, then you're an idiot sort of thing. And I've always sort of believed in that, but at the same time, very much don't want to align myself with Tories. But then there's the only bit of politics I've ever seen in my life that's ever benefited me has been a Tory policy. And then everything else.
Is there anything that you could say with absolute certainty that you know, anything that you definitely 100% know is the right thing to do?
I'll be honest, the thing that
I don't.
I'm so much closer to you now, and Corbyn was the one for me because I genuinely loved him. I genuinely was like,
I'll see you guys later.
I genuinely was the first. I was like, this is the first person I've seen who care. Like, for me, it was like the first person I've ever seen who genuinely cares for people like me, or like cares on a whole. And then the way the Labour done and wrong, and like the press and stuff, and I think all that, and then got people who think, well, they're not cunts, so they're not like Alfie, me mate, so whatever. You say he's anti-Semitic. I'm like, is there no one like? And it's not even just down to like. I still probably, if you ask me now, I still think he's probably the best of the bad bunch. But at the same time, I'm a bit like, and what happened with him? I'm a bit like, is there just no one? Is there no one there? Then what's the point in believing in like having faith in anything? If there's just no one.
I would say I would never put my faith in any politician because they're into it. All of them, it's about ego, including Corbyn. There's no doubt he's a fucking
I've got no doubt he's ego sort of thing, but I felt like when I looked at him and like, I was like, it's the first person I've seen who I agree with him, like, everything he was doing
there were things that I agreed with him about as well. Absolutely, there were policies and whatever that I agree with him about. But his ego was so tied into being anti-racist that he couldn't accept any culpability or any possibility that his whole thing was, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Well, that's not how racism works. A lot of times you don't realise you have unconscious bias. You have all these.
Fucked up here.
And all he had to do was just go, you know what? Maybe me giving a wreath to a guy who's cut off a Jewish guy's balls and stuff in his mouth. Maybe that's kind of fucked up. Maybe me calling Hezbollah a terrorist organisation, my friends. Maybe that's kind of fucked up. Maybe me praising this mural that is fucking overtly anti-Semitic and Jews around the world maybe they need to have a look at that. Everybody else fucking has to. What, he's the perfect human being? He couldn't fucking do it. And his followers, in London, the people, they couldn't fucking do it. They're perfect as fuck. It's like, we're all fucked up. No one is perfect. But he had, that was what
you want your dad to do. Say what you want your mum to go, well, you just admit you were wrong.
Just admit it.
And they go, I won't do it. So there's no hope.
And that's the thing. And then
fight.
But the serious problem from there is, not only does it like, be like, why can't you just fucking say, okay, we've all got unconscious bias, maybe I need to work a bit harder, whatever it is. But not only that, then it becomes like, well, there must be some fucking conspiracy. So rather than the reality, which was, and I was fucking in it, so I fucking know, a bunch of like a fucking there's about 50 Jews who are like, I know them. One's like a fucking house mom, like housewife. One's like he's a lawyer recruiter, like he recruits lawyers who are like giving our time to fight this shit online. No one like paid for it. Just 50 people and a few allies against fucking like, I don't know, 100,000 Corbynites online or whatever. But then the conspiracy, then it's all Israel and it's a criticising Israel. It's like, no, I criticise Israel. I'm not a fan of Netanyahu. But it was all like, you move to explain this, what happened to him. It had to be that there was a fucking conspiracy, and now the right absolutely used it. Of course they did. They're gonna. That's what they. Of course they're gonna use that fact. There
was certain Labour politicians who went against, and I don't think it was because of anti-Semitism. I think they just didn't. They didn't like him. Didn't align with his views. And like, I think the problem is, more than one thing can happen at once.
Yeah, totally.
So he can be anti-Semitic. There can be a conspiracy. But it doesn't mean all of it is
some big thing. But the conspiracy, i.e., Jews around the world, Jews don't like his ideas on Israel, or as one I saw Sophie Hagen put out a tweet that insinuated that Jews wanted, Jews were integral to the founding of the Labour Party. Jews have been part of Labour. There are more Jews vote for Labour than Tories traditionally. Like, that's the way it's always been. So this idea that suddenly it was like, as she put out a tweet, like, oh, it's because Jews don't want to pay taxes. That was the insinuation of it. You know what I mean? It's like,
I don't want to pay taxes.
Like overt anti-Semitism. Guess what? She's like the wokest of the fucking woke, and she's just putting fucking Now you challenge her on it, and then she eventually did, and she left it up, and Owen Jones retweeted it, and all this stuff, and then eventually a bunch of people shouting like, that's fucked up. She was like, oh, I could see how that could be construed that way, and I'm on a journey to learn, and this and that. But she still left the fucker up. She still took the accolades from whatever, and then she doubled down on it later. So the idea that she, as this, she's another Andrew Neil type. That person's a bigot. That person's a racist. That person, you're a fucking racist, mate. You just did something racist there. So these people, they're full of shit. It's the hypocrisy. Now, I'd like to think I'm not a hypocrite. That's the thing. Maybe I've done some fuck shit. I'd like to think I'd like to think that I'm anti-racist. I'd like to think that I don't judge people by the color of by their ethnicity and all of that stuff. That's what my ideal. Have I fucked up? Probably. Have I said a stupid joke here or there? Probably. But I'm not perfect. I'm not holding myself out to be the fucking, Gandhi of this shit. Gandhi was a fucking racist. Like, no one is above this shit. And those people fucking are hypocritical cunts, as far as I'm concerned. I can't even say the fucking word properly. And that's why I get wound up. It's the hypocrisy. That's what fucking does my nut in.
I totally get, I get where exactly you come from.
Anyway, that's my Twitter.
I need to plug.
No, it's good because the whole point, like, this is where we're free to have this.
Yeah, we're not. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect, like by any means.
But that's what you'd want from a leader, but no one ever says that.
It just says, "Look, I'm a bit of a cunt."
Because no one will ever put that.
Well, and I think that's a big mistake. And I think when we get a leader that does that is honest and is able to say, "Oh, I fucked up. You know what? I didn't read that brief properly." Actually, you know who did do it a little bit was Wes Streeting. So he's the health secretary now, Labour. You know, he's a gay guy. When the trans stuff kicked off, he was very much, he cancelled Julie Bindel, who's like a famous lesbian feminist, and whatever. And then as more information came out, he actually has come forward now, and he's been part of like why the government has continued with banning puberty blockers for kids, because it's been proven that there are negative side effects. Also, it's not proved that actually it has any positive impact on them, or enough of positive to justify them becoming infertile. And
make sure you triple check that if you're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
As we've said on the pod numerous times. Read all sources.
Read all the sources.
If you want only information on the one podcast, you've failed.
Exactly. So, but he apologized. Like he went, you know what? I was part of that cancellation of I didn't know enough. I did fuck up. Now I've read this stuff like that. So that now I don't know much else about him, and maybe he's full of shit on some other stuff. Maybe he's just a clever enough politician just to figure out that by saying that it's so refreshing.
Separates himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, people will go, he's been wrong once, he'll be wrong again. Like, and then you lose that status, wouldn't you? If you went, you're wrong on that. Just like you were wrong on trans, you're wrong on this.
Well,
this,
you could
do
that,
but then that was one of the people like Corbyn. Was the refreshing thing was he'd answer every question. In the sense that, like, when they asked him about Ed Miliband, and he said, "What would you do, Ed Miliband?" He went, "He's brilliant on renewable energy. He really wants to save the planet. I'd probably look for a job there." I remember seeing it was like 6 politicians, 5 of them refused to answer, and he went, well, "That's what he's good at. Well, then maybe, that's what I do."
But then I've seen him, but that's because that served him to answer on that particular thing. I've seen him be the opposite and be grumpy and deliberately not answer or be obtuse. That Andrew Neil interview. Not Andrew O'Neill. Andrew and I was getting mixed up. Interview just before the election, he was very obtuse about like the evidence of anti-Semitism and like absolutely not answering the stuff. And he was making a lot of claims that were like proved to be lies right then and there. But I mean, Corbynism arguably is. I
shouldn't have got you on Corbynism, but I just wanted to be honest.
No,
I didn't want to sit here and be a hypocrite and go, "Oh, by the way." Because my last political, last any balance in politics was, like I said to me mates, this election, this is the first election this year I've gone in not really educated on it because I've just given up.
Welcome to the jungle.
Because of what happened with Corbyn, that just switched me off to everyone, and it wasn't just that. What they did to him, it was the fact that like people are saying he's anti-Semitic, and it's people who I trust that I'm like, fuck.
But like if he's anti-Semitic, like for me, it's like, I know this is fucked up, but it's not like the real, like he does something that's anti-Semitic or doubles down or a few different things, but it's not like that means that there's not the possibility. But if you can't show any acknowledgement of that yourself,
no, I totally agree.
Where's your growth?
What you're saying, I agree what you're saying. That is a major problem.
People,
but that's what I mean. That's where I've sort of gone. That's what's driven me to be more like.
Well, I don't know who I like. Kemi Badenoch, she's a Tory, but she was being very forthright on the trans stuff. She came into office and sort of really took hold of that issue. I don't know what her beliefs are on anything else. That doesn't mean I could ever vote. I voted Labour this time because I took a punt. I first of all feel like Keir Starmer has been good at dealing with a lot of the toxic, crank, far left stuff that was in the party and making Labour electable, where I feel like, okay, now they can make a difference and do good for people's lives in terms of, sorting out the waterways, renationalising the rail. There are things, sorting out wages, social, there's a lot there of building homes, whatever. So there's a lot I'm hopeful for. At the same time, he's come in and done some fucking stupid shit already that makes me think, oh, fucking...
Do you ever get political with your parents?
My dad is, like I say, they both used to work for Labour. I've had discussions with my mum. I was a bit afraid of my mum. It's just, not to the point of... I don't think they've ever seen me this animated.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking now, if this is what you're like now, I'm thinking, what would you be like at Christmas? With
my parents, go back into grumpy teenager. I just can't help it. I just
But will they call you on some of your views and all that?
No, I don't think they follow
keep abreast of what
my
you're
mum
doing.
didn't even know I was on GB News. Like, she was like, "Oh, my friend told me that you're on," and she showed me a clip, and I really liked what you said about this or whatever. But so she just doesn't give a shit really. I mean, she says she does, or I'm proud of you, or whatever. But I'd been on it for about a year before she clocked that I was doing it. So it wasn't like that. We did have a big hoo-ha around Christmas a few years ago, because my brother-in-law put up a post from Dorset Eye, which was a like a far left crank thing about something, and I was just like, they'd also put out an article, like basically a Holocaust denial article, and they put that out. And it was like, you're putting a thing on Facebook from these guys who are really fucked up, and it was all like, you can't, and he just wasn't that engaged with politics. He sort of, but I was like in it. So
your brother-in-law?
My brother-in-law, and then my sister, she's not really into politics and stuff, but she was like she's left hippie type. She was like, yeah, vote for Labour. I was like, but just with no knowledge, just by default.
That's me.
So so when it came to, so she sent me a message where we were going around to hers Christmas Day, even though we're Jewish, but like, we were still sort of like having a Christmas meal and stuff. And then she said, she's like a-religious really, I guess, but she said, look, just don't bring up that thing.
See, no, that's just sort of easy life.
She said, don't bring it up. And I was
Did you bring it up first thing?
No, I said,
Pass the stuffing. You anti-Semite.
I said, fuck you, I'm not coming. I said, fuck you, no, I'm sorry.
Have you lost any friends from since you became?
Yeah, I've lost really. One of my best friends was Alexi Sell. Now we're in Liverpool. We were best mates, hanging out every day. Lost him.
Your hero?
He was.
Yeah, he was my hero as well.
He was, but I'm sure he'd hate me. That's the only thing.
No, I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure he'd like you. He can be a very charming guy.
But you've just,
all gone. So that's all gone a bit. I haven't spoken to him for.
Because he's very still.
He's still cool, very, very cool. Whatever. Yeah. I showed him evidence. I was like, we're having dinner, and I was like, look at this guy. This guy was like he was like a hip hop archivist in Brighton who'd posted something really fucked up. Yeah. And I was like, This guy is left wing. Yeah. He is a Labour supporter. This is anti-Semitic. And then I saw him say, like, some interview, like being interviewed like a few weeks later, like, oh, I've never seen any evidence of anti-Semitism on the left. I was like, I literally fucking showed, like, that is. So for me, it was like.
I think the problem you have with people like, well, we need to wrap up. The problem you have with people like that is they just go, well, they can't. I'm left, so they can't be left. That's what they tell themselves. I think it's like. Just to really belittle and narrow what it's all about. It's like football. When you see Jacob Rees-Mogg's kids wear Liverpool kits, and you go, they can't support Liverpool because I support Liverpool, and how they don't agree. They're not one of us. They can't get that off them now. That's all show.
Are they Liverpool fans?
His kids have got Liverpool kits.
But doesn't he?
I wouldn't even admit it now. They're Liverpool fans. I will say his kids have got Liverpool kits. I would not call them Liverpool fans.
Here's the thing that Jacob Rees-Mogg.
He's definitely trolling there. By the way,
100%.
I've seen him around GB News, and I've sort of said hello to me once. Farage, I would see. Okay, now these people I was marching against. So to go back to an early issue when you say about losing friends and stuff on the circuit, I have like Facebook fucking spats and stuff. Like who blocked me the other day? Hal Crichton. I've known 20 years. He blocked me. Like Paul Sinner blocked me the moment I started at GB News. Just never said anything. I've known him 20 years. When people you've driven all over the country with, as new comics and all this stuff.
People have hard lines though as well. That's like because I've got a hard line, which is the Sun.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
Anybody shares the Sun on social media, negative. Even if it's to take. Say you used to share the Sun front page and go, look how shocking this is. So even was negative, immediately blocked.
Well, fair enough.
Blocked, just
but also, by the way,
I wouldn't block it. I'd immediately unfollow you. You're no longer.
And you have personal history, so it's fair enough. And the Sun is.
I think some people have hard lines.
The Sun isn't even a newspaper. I mean, that's the reality of it now.
No, I know, but what I mean is like when you say about Sinner, I wonder whether Sinner's got a thing of. I can't stand the GB News. You work for them.
Well, it was actually before.
You're not going to be in my world.
It was like, I mean,
because Good mate, Mark Nelson, really good mate of mine. I haven't got him on Twitter because he retweeted the Sun.
Instagram?
Well,
I've got him on. He wasn't on Instagram, so I left him.
oh, yeah.
Oh, so you're not following Nelson?
No, I'm on Instagram, but not on Twitter.
Okay, well,
It's like because what it is, it's just a blanket. I have got a policy of it's a blanket ban in the sense that it doesn't appear in my world. So
By
the
mistake?
that's the minute it comes into my world, it's gone. However, it got there.
fair enough.
By mistake, though, if he deleted it.
No, it's gone.
But
So if I see it, then however, I actively make sure it's not in my world. So if it comes into my world, however it's got there, it's gone.
So
I won't go into shops if they sell
so
it.
now any people here who don't want
Yeah,
him
just-
in your life,
yeah,
now
just
you know.
send me
just
a
bombard-
send me it, John, yeah.
You pay just the red zone. They'll
But
be
it is, but
happy
like,
to be in the election.
I haven't seen it in years. There's like
What's at the
say,
centre of the universe?
there's a
the
shop-
solar system.
shop by mine. I saw it in for 4 years ago. I haven't gone in since.
To be honest with you, I
It
think
just
a lot
doesn't
of
exist
Liverpool
in my
shops
world.
now, even in Formby, some of them don't put it in.
Most of them won't, but like every now and
Maybe
again,
the big ones. but
every
like-
now and again you get some that are owned, and I don't want to have a go at the owners, but some that are owned, they're not from here. They don't understand the weight of it, and someone might have asked for it, and they go, "Oh yeah, we'll get it in for you."
they don't-
But the minute I see it, I just don't go.
Fair enough. But to finish on that, you are still friends with Mark, right?
Still friends with Mark.
So what I say is like,
But what I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I was interrupting you. Thinking, I don't know. You've seen Paul since?
No, I haven't seen Paul since, but I have like someone like Hal who I'll see at like the Christmas comedy party or whatever. So after all of this antagonism and whatever, when I went to Christmas party, I was like, oh hey, like there's a bit of unnerving, and then you sort of remind yourself like, I like this person.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen with Andrew Hill at all.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of people who I'd like argued with or whatever, and then you realise, of course, they're a human being and they're imperfect and so it all kind of goes by the side, and it's the same what I'm trying to say is with Jacob Rees-Mogg or even what's his name, Nigel Farage. When you're actually confronted by the human being, you cannot respond in the same. There's a guy called Aaron Bastani or whatever. He runs Navarra Media. Someone I just online detest, and I'll walk past and he's in the green, and it's like I would have thought back in the day, I would be like, if I'd seen him in real life, I was like, couldn't stop myself going over screaming at him. But the reality is that something happens where you just become polite when you are presented with. And now you realise,
like you say, you immediately realise that a human being. It's like Jacob Rees-Mogg, I'll hate, but I imagine the same. If I saw him in person, I'd immediately go, "Oh, I went to school with people who've had a similar upbringing to you, so I know exactly why you're like that. So all I hate is dissolve in me, and I'd be like, I might not like him, I wouldn't be his friend,
might disagree with you,
not an animal.
But if you were to ask me when I'm sitting on Twitter, I'd fucking punch his head in. That'd all immediately go, sort of thing. But like,
they're people, and they just have different opinions to who you are. Even Corbyn, the amount of my life has been changed by that guy. But I have seen him, and it's just like. But I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, he's a bloke, he's an old guy, he's like, whatever. But it's like what they represent, it's all the shit that goes around it, so... Social media is terrible.
Well, if it did see Rees-Mogg, I would say to him, your kids aren't Liverpool supporters. That is one
probably have a laugh with him, have a pint and go, oh, fuck. Probably go, oh, shit.
Right, Josh, have you got anything you want to plug?
Do not follow me on Twitter. Whatever you do. No, I don't. But, look, hey, tune into Headliners. It's on I know it's GB News. I know people feel very strongly. Maybe you'll agree with some stuff and disagree with some stuff. I think it's a good show. I'm very proud of doing it. So, whatever.
Sweet. Thanks for the Patreon. Nice one. Ta-da.